So you're planning to eventually retire from the federal government. You've worked for years, and now is the time to actually pick the date. Well, in today's video, we're going to talk about some of the best dates that you should be considering in order to retire to help you maximize your benefits. Hi, I'm Christian with Plan Your Federal Retirement, back with another All About FERS video. And one of the things that I help my clients with the most when we're planning their federal retirement is actually coming up with what that date for them is going to be. And I'd say first and foremost, the most important thing that we need to understand for each and every one of you is going to be what is those retirement thresholds that you must meet, right? It's going to be either an age requirement or a years in service requirement. And we know those are going to be your MRA with 30 years of service, age 60 with 20 years of service, or age 62 with 5 years of service for just the regular FERS. Now, there's some other rules out there for discontinued service, RIF rules, or deferred resignation rules, right? And that would be age 50 with at least 20 years or any age with 25. That also coincides with your special provision categories as well, like law enforcement officer, air traffic controller, firefighters, right? So I'd say first and foremost, you want to figure out what your age and service requirements are going to be for around the time that you want to retire. Now, if you're planning to retire like tomorrow and you haven't quite met some of those age and service requirements, then you might want to consider doing a postponed retirement or a deferred retirement. And those have some other rules that we won't cover today. But getting familiar with what your RSCD is, retirement service computation date is, and the age that you'll be for when you retire is going to be very important so that you have some sort of a threshold or some sort of a date eventually in the future that you want to reach. Now, let's say we're getting closer to that date and you're actually trying to pick, okay, now I've met the age and service requirement. Now I know when I retire, I get my pension, I get my health insurance. Okay, now how do I know when the best date is going to be? A more common date, I'd say, for a majority of people retiring from the federal government would be December 31st. And the main reason for December 31st, well, there's two big reasons. One has to do with annual leave, and the other has to do with retiring at the end of the month. So when we're talking about annual leave, just retiring on December 31st, there is the 240 years of annual leave that you get to carry forward from the previous year into this current year. And then you get to accrue all of the annual leave for the current year so that if you retire by 12/31, you'll have, in this case, or this example, potentially 240 hours of annual leave you carried forward from the previous year, plus all the annual leave that you accrued during this year that then gets paid out to you as a lump sum after you retire. So you get to maximize what your annual leave payout will be. And so for a lot of people, December 31st just makes sense for them because they get to maximize that annual leave payout that they'll get. Now, I work with a lot of clients up in Alaska, and as we know, it's cold and dark in Alaska, especially around January 1st. And so maybe it doesn't really fit their goal for wanting to retire just based on the timing of the year, depending on where you live. So maybe planning ahead and having a few trips lined up, or just thinking, hey, well, maybe December 31st isn't quite my date. So that's the second reason that a lot of people choose the end of the month. In this case, it's December 31st, but it could be, May 31st, right? Or June 30th. If you retire at the end of the month, we know that your pension always begins the first of the following month. So by retiring at the end of a month, you're not going to miss any sort of income. There won't be any pay gaps, so to speak. So like if we were to retire January 1st as opposed to December 31st, your pension wouldn't start until February 1st. Even if you retired on January 1st, it always starts the first of the following month. And so if you retire at the end of a month, then you're always guaranteed that, okay, my pension is going to start the first of the following month. So there's no, pay gap disparities. Now, that's not to say that you won't experience some sort of a gap between when OPM is actually processing your retirement and when you first get your interim check and the time it takes for them to actually process your retirement so that you actually are receiving the full amount that you should receive. But by retiring at the end of the month, once your pension is finally adjudicated and finalized and you're getting your payments, there wouldn't have been any gaps in income there. Other things to be thinking about, one that comes to mind would be tax considerations, right? As I mentioned before, with that annual leave that gets paid out, if you retired, October 31st or November 30th, and we know that your annual leave gets paid out as a lump sum, there's important tax considerations there where, if you're making a full or almost a full year's of salary, plus you get this big annual leave payout that could be worth tens of thousands of dollars, hey, that might push you in a higher tax bracket versus if you push that annual leave to the following year. So again, maybe another reason why December 31st ends up being a lot more attractive for people because of that tax considerations there. Now, if you retired earlier on in the year, then that annual leave payout won't really be as big of a consideration, but it's something that we need to be thinking about. I'd say one last thing as you're planning the perfect retirement date for your federal retirement is planning your TSP contributions for that year. So for in 2025, if you're looking to do the TSP contribution of $23,500 plus the $7,500 catch up, I'm not talking about the super catch up between ages 60 and 63. Let's just say it's the $31,000, the $23,500 plus the $7,500. So if we're looking to contribute $31,000 into the TSP for the last year that you're working, but you retire, in the middle of the year, again, you might want to consider adjusting those TSP contributions if it works for your cash flow situation so that you can maximize those contributions for the TSP for that year. So to summarize today's video, really you're wanting to pick the perfect date, knowing and understanding your FERS rules in order to get your pension and keep your health insurance, but also timing it based on cash flow needs, tax considerations, but most importantly, how you think you'll be spending your time. Some people try to coordinate it around certain birthdays or certain milestones or anniversaries or certain things like that, which could make that retirement that much more meaningful. And December 31st could be a good date for you, but it might not be. And it could just be because, hey, it's wintertime and, I'm not finding myself going to be enjoying this time of the year because I'm retiring at maybe a not so favorable time of the year, for example. So hopefully this video was helpful. Let me know if you have questions below in the comment section. Make sure you are subscribed to our channel so you get our latest videos that we put out. And of course, until next time, happy planning.